Well, hey there, it's Elka.
And Jen, and in this episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, we are talking about the Zazzle ProDesigner levels and how you can get there.
Yeah, this is really important. Like any entrepreneur who's doing e-commerce online may come across Zazzle, and then you'll realize that there's these pro designer designations. It's almost like Mary Kay. You get your car or something, you get the pink Cadillac at a certain level, but it's not multi-level marketing. Believe me, it's actually an incentive program that Zazzle has in place so that you can be recognized for your achievements of how much you've earned, lifetime earnings, based on US sales. So this is really cool. We have been on Zazzle for 14 years and we've gone through the levels. Actually, I've reached the top level and I've actually reached a double the time. So that's kind of fun. But what we're going to do today is help you understand those levels, allow you to understand that they could be used for you to feel good about the progress that you're making. And then there's some perks, and we're going to tell our own stories and things. But honestly, the biggest perk is that you've got something to aim for, so that you can call yourself a certain level design of Zazzle Pro Designer, and then that will allow you to feel good, right? You've got this is really important. It's a gamification, and the main thing is that status, which is really fun, because then you get to feel good, like I've actually achieved this much, and we want to honor and respect that as well with you. And we're going to also talk a little bit about some of our students who have done so well and gotten to those other levels and how good they feel about things now that they're at these levels. So we're going to jump right in. Okay, so the key points that we're going to talk about are:
So, what is a Zazzle Pro Designer? The second is what are the different types of levels? The third point we're going to cover is how can you get there? The fourth point we're going to cover is strategies, training, and coaching.
actually, that's part of point number 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the fourth was going to be our topic, our own experience. So that'll keep you coming and listening to the very end, because we want to share a couple of fun stories with you about being at certain levels, and we want to keep those till the end. So stay and listen to the whole podcast or to the whole show on YouTube. Okay, so point number 1, what is a Zazzle Pro Designer?
Go for it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, you read the sentence out, so go for
Well,
it.
it's like I was doing a segue to get you to do that, because that's easy. Okay, well, everybody on Zazzle starts out with a store, and then or an account, and then if you want to, you can start selling something, and the way you do that is you set up a store. Okay, and then the first $100 that you make in the Zazzle marketplace on your store, if it's like $100 earnings, if they've come, this is all designated with lifetime earnings from US-based sales. Now, it's kind of a weird condition, but that's the way they've done it. And so by selling a certain number of products, you're going to get a certain royalty, and then the amount of money that you make from those royalties gets started being added in a pot. And the things that are designated that came from your royalties that were US-based sales, they're going to start working on your account. And I hope that didn't confuse you more, but basically the entire time when you're doing these Pro Designer levels, you're being judged based on your amount that you've made from US-based sales, right? And so if, depending on, let's say your royalty is 10%, so let's say you sold $100 worth of stuff, then you make $10. That's your royalty because it's set at 10%, and so that would be $10 towards your pot from a US-based sale. So until you get to $100 of lifetime earnings from a US-based sale, you're just going to be a Zazzle designer. But when you get to 100, you become a pro designer. And so that's the first level, is the Zazzle Pro Designer level. Means that you've made $100 in lifetime earnings from US-based sales from your royalties, okay? So then the rest of the levels are just based on the same conditions. It's just you're adding on to more and more success that you've done on Zazzle. So the next level up is bronze. So that means that you have to have $1,000 of lifetime earnings based on US sales, and then you'll hit the bronze level, which is kind of fun. And then the silver is the next one, and you have to reach $25,000 in lifetime earnings. So that's like a huge jump from 1,000 to 25,000. They really stretch you out and like push you to get there. And it's like at first it seems like a lot, but actually once you know what you're doing, then it actually comes in due time, right? It's not like 10, 20 years from now. And then the next level after that is gold, which means that you've made $100,000 in lifetime earnings from US-based sales that you've made. And then platinum is 250,000 in lifetime earnings from US-based sales. And so that these earnings that you're making, the 250,000, that's all your royalty earnings from those base sales, right? It doesn't add all the other stuff that you can earn on Zazzle. So it's really important that you understand that when you're looking at your earnings, that's a mixture of everything. Affiliate income, non-US based sales, and US based sales for royalties. And so be careful that you can't just like look at your lifetime earnings and go, I should be there already. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing this episode, because that's what people keep thinking. And I thought that way at first too. It's like, I just saw my number. It's like, I should be getting my badge by now. And I was like, let's go. And but actually, when you do the math, you have to do the US based sales only earnings, and then that way you'll get your badge level when you get it, right? And so there is one more level, which is diamond, and that means that you've made $500,000 in lifetime earnings from US based sales. And when we first started on Zazzle, it's like, how in the heck can you make $500,000 in lifetime earnings on Zazzle, right? It's like, that just seemed like like that's when you get to heaven, or like that's when you like your bonus for being like good, when like it's just like so unattainable. At least that's what we thought. But actually it's happened a lot on the Zazzle platform, and I actually made that back in, I don't even know anymore, because it was way back, and I've actually already doubled that. So I've already made over $1 million in lifetime earnings on Zazzle, which is kind of fun, because at first you think that's totally impossible, but it is possible. And the proof is in how I experienced it over the years. But now that looking back, I'm thinking like, why not just aim for that? It's like, I could do this. I just need to know how. Before it was like, yeah, well, I'll be really happy if I make it to 100K. That would be really nice. And now instead, it's like, how much more could I do? And I want you to have that same attitude. It's like, I just need to know what to do, and then I can start taking the right actions. And yeah, so how did you feel? I'm gonna like do a little teaser. Like, so how did you feel when you got to your level? Jenna's gold, which is 100,000 in lifetime earnings.
I was extremely excited because, as you said, when you first start out on Zazzle, it seems super unattainable to get to these levels and to think that you could possibly make that amount of money. And when I received, well, even my bronze, it was a huge deal, making $1,000 online. And then when I hit 100,000, which is gold, it just, as you said, like the heaven gates opened up. You were like, wow, like this is awesome. Not that you need to get those levels to actually feel successful, but it was just an amazing milestone in your Zazzle journey. And it really like locked in the fact that like, wow, I've been working really hard, and this is something that I can finally show to the world, a shout out to other Zazzle designers that I am at this point in time in my Zazzle journey. And what I always think is absolutely crazy is when you think of the fact that we're talking about earnings here. So that's 10% of what the actual sales are that your business has generated. And so, for example, if you've become bronze recently and you've made $1,000 in royalties, then that means that you have actually sold $10,000 worth of product on Zazzle. And
if you've set your royalty at 10%.
If you set your royalty at 10%. And so when I hit 100,000, which was gold, or it is gold, it sort of was like this outside of reality experience, because you're like, wow, I just have hit the $1 million mark in terms of making sales with my Zazzle business.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind. So yeah, it was awesome.
That was, for anyone listening on the podcast, we just gave ourselves a high five.
Yeah, that's true. You can't see us on the podcast. But yeah, no, it was an incredible experience, and it made me feel And not that you have to equate your worthiness with a status, but it just was like, wow, this is like actually happening.
I know, you've got a real business going here.
Yeah.
Like, those people online that say, oh, I've made $1 million, and that's the revenue that they're talking about. So not the profit. Whereas when you're reaching these pro designer levels, those actually your profit. That's your take home. Unless, of course, you have a lot of expenses to run your business. But pretty much like our business for Zazzle runs at about 85 to 90% profit, which is awesome. And so most of that is our own earnings. And like you said, then we actually, like, our business is generating that much revenue, which is the 10 times amount, because that's what we set our royalty at, is 10%. And that just blew my mind, right? Because I was always just looking like, this is how much I want to earn. And then afterwards I realized, oh, that means I'm running a business that's in the 7 figures, which is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the levels, and I hope that each one of you progresses through those levels all the way to the top and then doubles the diamond.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the double diamond right now. I want everyone else to be in that same boat. Because it's fun, it's cool, and it's so much, like, I just feel so happy that I put that time and effort in to figure it out. Now, of course, Jen and I took forever to figure out how to make this all work on Zazzle. Because, our income from every year attests to it. Like, I made $90 in my first year back in 2008, which, I didn't even get a payout because you need 100 to get a check. So all year long I was waiting to make that first 100, and I never made it. So I didn't even get paid out until I made enough to get over the 100, so that I would finally get one check from Zazzle, which was my $100 plus worth of earnings. It was like, oh, but obviously times have changed because there's already more traffic on Zazzle and whatnot, but what really changed was how we decided to approach our business, and we learned the hard way by making a lot of mistakes. But that's why afterwards we decided that, like 3 years ago, we decided, hey, we've been really successful and we're just keeping this all to ourselves. It's time that others were able to take advantage of this opportunity for us to, showcase our 5 strategies that we also use even to this day to run our business, to run it profitably, to earn the amount of money that we want to make, so that Zazzle supports that's our lifestyle. We don't have we teach people how to make the money on Zazzle as well, but our Zazzle businesses are still really important to us in terms of our earning income. And so we are still active on Zazzle and implementing all of the strategies that we use, like the 5 strategies we always talk about. And that's been a game changer for us. And the fun part for us is that it's been a game changer for our students. So since like I just said, that we started 3 years ago, and after we started, and again, we're just like Zazzle designers, and we just realized, okay, how do we put this into a course? Taught ourselves how to create a good course, and then we've improved the course over time, and so now it's morphed into what's called the Profit by Design Academy. And even though that the course has changed in how we deliver it, the fact that we've given those 5 strategies out and what to do and how to implement them has been in the very first course all the way along. And it's even like more easily digestible now, because we realized we're basically doing like a college business course for Zazzle, because it just is so encompassing and all-rounded, so that you can do really well on Zazzle. If you implement all the 5 strategies and you do the proper work. And so this is really important, because we're not here to tell you you're going to make so many dollars because you bought the course. You have to implement the 5 strategies, and you have to do it well, and you have to do it consistently and all that stuff. And it was only once our students started doing that they actually saw a change as well. And so we have just as many students probably who don't do well even with the course, because they haven't actually done the work or implemented anything. So that the how you can get there to these levels really is important. So first of all, if you're not doing well right now, whatever you're doing, it's not going to get you to any of these levels. But if you do take a different approach and use a proven plan that's been proven by not only the people who made it, but also the people who are taking the plan and doing it, and who are taking away all the objections, like, for example, oh, well, Jen and Elka started so many years ago. Now, there's no room for anyone to do well. Well, our students started 3 years ago, and they're doing incredibly well. They're going to surpass us very soon and do it in much less time than we took, right? And other objections like that, it's just more so that you don't actually know what the right action steps are that you need to take in order to do make success happen for you, no matter what business it is. And here, this training is very specific to Zazzle. But on the other hand, it's also got a lot of great business training in it, and because that's what we're doing. We're running a business. We're not doing this as a hobby. We're running this as a business, and because of that change, the training, the way it's set up in the Profit by Design Academy, has allowed our students to actually then go into Amazon merch and Shopify and set up their Etsy store better and be better on Redbubble and Society6. And it's so powerful and empowering. And we love to hear all their successes. So let's give how many dollars have we helped our students sell over the last 3 years?
Well, from the students who have told us how much money they have actually made, we have calculated that from those students, we've helped them make over $6 million in sales.
What was that?
$6 million in sales.
$6 million.
Yeah.
It's like mind-blowing. So that means that our students, the ones that have told us, like Jen said, not everyone's told us what their earnings are. They've made over 600,000 take-home combined.
Yep. Yeah.
Over the last 3 years. Do you want a piece of that? I would like a piece of that.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's terrific. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's really eye-opening and it's amazing. We're extremely happy for all of our students. And no matter what level they're at and how much money they're making, we're just happy that we're able to make a difference in their lives. And whether it be that couple $1,000 or even $1,000 or even $100 a month, it helps to pay for bills. It helps to pay for rent or electricity or even like a mortgage. And we've had so many amazing stories from our students where they have said, you have literally changed my life. I didn't realize that this was even possible. I was stuck in a place where I wouldn't even be able to get out of if I had not found you. And so the $6 million in sales is absolutely amazing. But besides the fact that it's a huge number, we help people on a micro scale too. And the students who are making smaller amounts of money still are able to change their lives in such a significant way. And that's what we actually, it's our mission statement, is to help everybody do that, because
we want to empower you to be successful being a creative. And that, as Jen said, even just the 1,000, that means that that's all you can make. It means that you've been empowered to actually see that it's possible for you. All you have to do is keep doing it.
Yep.
And then the month that I can't make any income claim statements, but ultimately, if you've done it once, if you rode the bike for the first time, you're probably going to go ride around the neighborhood and play around with your friends or whatever. When you were a kid, you never thought twice about it, right? Whereas now it's oh, I only made 1,000. It's what do you mean? You finally learned how to ride your bike. And so now you can go and do it again and do it again and do it again.
Yeah. But $6 million in sales is awesome, though.
I was
and counting.
Every movie possible, where they do they really accentuate $1 million. It's that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm a total movie geek. Yeah, you got me. Okay, so let's talk about some numbers in terms of people who have come into our program, and they've definitely only been either at the pro level, which means they've made $100 in sales, $100 in lifetime earnings, because that's what always messes us up. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to talk only from now on earnings that the person on Zazzle has taken home, just so you understand, right? And so at the pro level means that you've made $100 on sales, that you've made money from the sales you've made. And so is that bad now?
No, but I think you keep on mixing it up.
Myself.
So pro means that you've earned $100 in royalties, and that money has gone into your bank
from U.S. sales.
Yes.
Okay, so most students come with that or less in terms of they haven't even reached the pro status. And so in 3 years, a lot of them have moved into all these other levels. then one or two, or like maybe like what, about 10% of our students have maybe reached the $1,000 level before they come to us as students. And so that's really important for you to understand. But now, out of the number of students, and again, we have more students than who tell us what their level is, and how, and keep us up to date as to what their levels are. So based on the numbers that we do have, and like I said, there's more students out there, but let's just go with the ones we know. We have 44 students currently at like the pro level, which means that they made $100, which is fantastic. Woohoo! Snap, snap. We're doing snap, snap to congratulate everyone these days, and it's really fun. We used to do happy dance, but we were just always out of our chairs because there were so many successes. It was awesome, but we were always off camera. So snap, snap is the new way to congratulate students. That's so much, and I almost swore, because I'm almost more excited for the people that just got the first level, because it means that they can do more. They've been empowered. Whereas, the other ones, it's like they already know what they're doing. They're just like more and more money that they've accumulating, which is awesome. It means that I'm also happy for them, because they didn't think it was just a one-off thing. They knew that they figured it out because we were helping them take them through the 5 strategies, and now they're actually just so empowered that they just know, and they're so solid and clear about what they're doing, and they have such confidence, and that's gold. That's because then you can do anything, right? Even if you do something completely different, you know what to do. You've got the core traits and the core skills, and that's what's so great about what we're doing with training and teaching everyone, is to empower you to be successful being a creative, and I love that. Okay, so what about bronze? And tell what bronze is again, so that I don't mess it up.
So bronze means that you've earned $1,000 in U.S. earnings, like sales made from your U.S. sales. I didn't mess it up, but it's the fact that you have to understand that when you sell in the U.S., because Zazzle is an internationally known company, you can sell in the U.S., you can sell in Canada, you can sell in Australia, you can sell in Asia, and
everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world.
Pretty much.
Basically, you need to account for this, the ProDesigner program, where you get these distinctive levels. It's only based on the sales that you make in the U.S. So if you sold to a person who lives in the United States, you could have made a lot of money, let's say in Australia, and be much more further away than $1,000, but that doesn't actually count for some reason. You still have actually earned that money, so you have made possibly, let's say, $5,000, but really we're only able to count the level based on your U.S. earnings. So you have to understand that this amount of money, these people that we're talking about right now, have probably made much more than what we're saying, but it's because it's based on the U.S. sales and U.S. like people who have bought in the U.S. So bronze means that you've earned $1,000, and it's put that into your bank account from your U.S. sales.
Correct. And we have 50 students that are currently, that we're aware of, that are already in that, which is awesome. So that means that combined, we've got over 100, pretty much 100 students who have up-leveled way beyond where they were when they first started, which is awesome.
Yeah. And so silver, as we mentioned, is $25,000. It's a bit of a jump from the first 1,000.
Oh, and I've written something completely wrong here, because it's actually 15.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
I know
on our
that.
list here, because I said it said 5, and it's like, no, that's not true.
So $25,000 in earnings is what will get you the silver designation for the ProDesigner Levels. And our students, we have about 15 people who are there already, and that's not even people who have not let us know. So 15 people we know of, and so many people are on their way to reaching that, which is awesome. We're going to have a boom in people who reach that level very, very soon, especially.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, because it's such a big gap between 1,000 to 25,000, and so a lot of people are like at 5 and at 10 and at 15 and at 20, and they're going to come up and be that silver designation very soon, because that's kind of what's been happening. They've been with us since 2017, and they're just building their business. And that's one of the things we always talk about, is Zazzle is not a get-rich-quick scheme. it is a slow and steady race for this particular type of business. But then once it builds and grows fast as you've built it up solidly.
Yeah. So gold is the next level after silver, and that is $100,000 in earnings from U.S. sales. And we have 2 people that we know of for sure that have actually surpassed that way, way beyond.
Yes.
And then we have a couple people who are very, very close as well.
Yeah.
And I'm also a gold designer too. But it's awesome. Like in terms of the levels, you have that designation and that badge. But as soon as you hit $100,000, the next day you make more money and you're actually like leveling up to the next level anyway.
Yeah, you're on
so
your way.
I am way past gold, for example. And the students who are our gold members who we know of, they are also way past gold, but
Yes.
to hit 250,000, which is the next level, is quite a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
2.5 times reaching gold.
yeah. So, but when we say $100,000, you actually have to understand that we've made more than that in U.S. sales, and then also more than that in all our international sales as well. So that's a huge accomplishment for all of the students that we're speaking about here. Is what we said is that they've actually made more money than just the $1,000 or just the 25.
Kudos to everyone. Yeah. And so we talk, we've already done a podcast, and we'll link it here in the show notes to that podcast about Brandon. And we're going to do a podcast about Christine because she's our newest gold pro designer. And Brandon, we've done an episode about already, and he reached gold like almost a year ago based on the fact that we're doing this podcast right now in January of 2021. And both Brandon and Christine have, as Jen said, way past the 100,000 mark already because they just keep going, right? And plus, not everything is U.S.-based sales. And so they're on their way to platinum. It's awesome. It's exciting. And then we've got Susan, who in November of 2020 hit 88,000. And with the Christmas season, we don't even know exactly where she is yet because we haven't checked in with her. She's a lovely lady who decided to, boost her Zazzle account and earnings like for about a year and a half when we first started doing the courses, because she had this goal in mind that ultimately she didn't want to work on Zazzle. She wanted Zazzle just to keep paying her with the effort that she made, which is totally the business model anyway on Zazzle. And the idea was for her to work really hard and get things in place, which she did. She went from like 10,000. She was one of our top students in terms of earnings before she started with us, but then she quickly made that into 40,000. And now then she's retired and was really more focused on doing all the fun things that she's like part of her social seniors club and all this other stuff. And so over the last year and a half, she's pretty much done nothing on Zazzle. She's more just maintaining it like we do with our Zazzle business. And because of that, her earnings are still going up though. And so she's just slowly watching it and just having fun letting it accumulate, which is awesome, right? So if you're in that situation where you're retired and you don't really want to work on something, if you put the things in place, there's this opportunity for you to work very little and still maintain it once you've got things in place and have earnings coming in, which is awesome. And so we're hoping that she's going to be telling us very soon that she's at the $100,000 level too, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where our students are, and that's pretty darn good for someone like Brandon and Christine started out at 0.
Yep.
Brandon
everybody started out at 0.
Yeah, but like Brandon had made $2,500 in 5 years in Zazzle, so he'd been a bronze seller, but $2,500, that's $500 a year, and now he's made over $100,000 in less than 3 years. We have to switch now because now we're different. We always said back in 2020 a certain number, but now it's been about 2.5 years. Okay. And same with Christine. She started out with $130, 32 to be exact, before she started in with the training in the Profit by Design Academy, and now she's actually at already 150,000. Way to go, girl!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a triple snap. Okay, so we wanted to just do one more fun thing and say some of our experiences. And what I want you in this podcast, when you're listening, I want you to share your ProDesigner Zazzle experience. So if you've leveled up to any of the levels, we want to hear from you, what level you're at, and also what are the perks now? Because they do have a list of perks, but unfortunately, there's a lot of things that have been happening and changes, and with COVID and everything else, who knows whether we're truly getting a perk other than being recognized as a certain level of designer. We get a little badge that's associated with our account in Zazzle, and so you can show that if you'd like. In your settings, you can go to your profile settings and do that and show the badge. But for you, I would say that just pick out the because I've been through all the stages, and I know what what I got when I hit all those levels. And I realized a big lesson. I realized I don't just want the privileges of the level. I should really have been looking at the outcome of why when I was striving for those levels, should have really been looking more at the outcome and how it would set me up as my business, rather than whether or not I got like perks. Like the pink Cadillac. Remember I talked about Mary Kay. And so we just want to show you, if you're watching on YouTube, we're just going to hand it and like show it to you physically. But when I first got my bronze level, I got a cute little card, and it says bronze level designer on the back.
Plastic. It's almost like a credit card.
It's like a credit card. And so I don't know if they're still giving those out. If they are, let me know, because it's kind of fun. You also get like some business.
It has the date on it too. It says
when did I reach?
You reached it in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go.
December 2008, and yeah, it's like a a hard credit card type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. And then here, because
I don't know what happened to silver, but then I think I got a T-shirt for silver, just like a basic Zazzle T-shirt, and then I don't have that anymore because I wore it and it wore out, because I was so proud. I was walking around everywhere. I'm a Zazzle designer. I'm silver, and then Jen's wearing the hat that I got when I reached gold, and it's brand new because I'm not a hat person. And so it's still exactly the way it was. And if you are watching this on on YouTube, then you can see that it's still the old logo.
Yeah.
But they basically showcase their embroidery of the hats, which is really fun. And so it says gold, like a Zazzle logo and the Zazzle word in gold. And that's what I got for being a gold pro designer. Did you get that? Did you get a hat?
No, I didn't, because I think they cut that out when I received it.
All right. So, and then for platinum, I got this really cool sweatshirt. I think they were then, sorry, not sweatshirt, it was like a jacket.
A hoodie, a zipper up hoodie.
Jacket, yeah. I don't think it had a hood, but it had like a collar, and on the back it actually had my store name on it and Zazzle embroidered. It was like, wow, I'm wearing this everywhere. And again, I wore that out. Like, you can't even show it. I actually had to give it away because it was just torn and tattered. But I was so proud of that. But as I said, like, I really want you to hear this. Like, even if they don't give you any gifts or any perks anymore, this is very much a journey that you're taking for yourself, not just to get a hat or a jacket. And we will celebrate you at every level. And so we want to hear from you. So if you didn't get something because Zazzle's no longer being as attentive to the pro designers, or they're not giving, whatever they've done in terms of changing the program or the story in your head, please don't do that. Honor and respect that you have reached those goals, whether it's pro designer, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, doesn't matter. Each one of those is a huge accomplishment, and we want to celebrate with you and honor and respect that you did that work. And that, like, snap, that's you're doing it, and we're so excited for you. So thank you so much for being part of our journey down memory lane.
Yeah.
and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yeah, so thank you so much for listening to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, and as Olga said, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.